Live from the chicken wing capital of the world, Buffalo, New York. You're listening to the Childcare Bridge Podcast, your source for the best tips, tools, and tactics on how to market and grow your childcare center, ensuring total domination. Total domination. This is the Childcare Bridge, and this is your host, Michael Tasner.
What if I were to tell you that you are massively underutilizing one of, if not your most important marketing assets? Now, you might be thinking that I'm going to say your website, and while that normally would be true, and that normally is the one that I go right for, in today's episode of the Childcare Bridge, I wanted to laser focus and actually talk about your staff. So your biggest expense, traditionally, month to month to month, is going to be labor. Some childcare center owners love all their team and they just have amazing things to say all the time. Other center owners, not so much. And I've done a lot of episodes around culture and getting your team aligned and how to compensate them, and that's a whole different ballgame. But regardless of if you're in the camp of I love my staff or my staff, they need a little bit of work, you're still paying them to be there. And I have noticed this growing trend that has been growing every year, where the most important aspect for a new person to join your organization, to say, hey, I want to leave my job and I'm going to come over here, is pay. Now, in the past, it used to be things like recognition and the type of job and being able to give back to the community. Like, there used to be a lot more to it, to where it was like everything wasn't necessarily equal, but there was a pretty lengthy list. Now the number one thing on that list is pay. What are you willing to pay and what do the benefits look like? Now, for you to be able to pay more, there's a whole nother avenue that you have to go down, and that's to make sure that you have enough profit. You're charging enough tuition, you have your numbers in a really good spot. But what if you didn't have all your numbers in a great spot, you need some more enrollments, and your staff wants more money? How do you actually kill multiple birds with one stone? So what we're going to do is we're going to take your staff and we're going to turn them into walking billboards. So here's the action plan, and here's the why behind this. So the why on the kind of employer-employee relationship is they have something that you want, which is going to be their network, their followers, their friends, their family. You want more of those so that you can drive up enrollments. On their side, they want more money. How do we solve that? We turn them in, again, to a walking billboard. So here's how we started to roll this out across all the different childcare centers that we're working with. So the first step before you do anything else is that you need to get really clear on how much you are willing to pay for an enrollment. Now, this topic, for some reason, tends to be a little bit controversial. Now, controversy not in like a bad way, but like a way that a lot of center owners, you just don't understand the way that I'm phrasing this and then the why behind it. So for me, across all the centers that I own, the number one metric that I look at every single day is my CPE. What is my cost per enrollment? So simple math. You get 10 new enrollments. You invested $10,000. Your CPE, or cost per enrollment, was $1,000. Now, all the different investments need to go into that $10,000 number. So if you're using an agency like mine, if there's ad spend, software, if you're doing direct mail, all the different investments go into that basket so that you're getting a true cost per enrollment. I would rather you be working with a number that's, I wouldn't say wrong, but I'd rather your number be less generous. So for example, let's say you got 10 enrollments and you're going to say, well, I mean, we had some other things we did, but let's just say that we invested $3,000. Well, then your cost per enrollment is only a few $100s rather than 1,000 in the first example. So I'd rather that number be a little bit larger to the point where you're not like sandbagging yourself, because as you're going to hear how we're going to debut this program, this cost per enrollment number is critical to have it right. So the average number that I see across all the centers that we work with is typically between $500 and $700. And I did a whole episode on cost per enrollment and managing based off of the numbers. So let's use that $500 mark as an example. So you know that you are able to essentially buy enrollments for about $500. Now, when I have numbers like that, to me, it's game over. Game over in a good way. If you need 50 enrollments, and you know that you can essentially buy them for $500 each, I'm going to blow up the ad spend. I'm going to be going kind of full guns blazing from a marketing perspective, because that's a great number. If someone's investing or paying me, let's say $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,500, whatever your tuition is every month for an average of a time period of 2 years, 20 months typically. So if your tuition's $1,000 and they're going to stay on average of 2 years with you, I can buy an enrollment for $500, and then on the other side, it spits out $20,000 over the next 2 years. That's amazing math. Now, the reason I want this cost per enrollment number is that I don't want you to cheap out here. And this is where the thing starts kind of going off tilt a little bit, is you'll say, all right, so right now I'm essentially buying my enrollments. My cost per enrollment is $500, but my staff, I mean, they're already getting paid, so I'm just going to give them $100. I want you to give them as close to that number as possible. I want you to ideally be giving the $400 or $500 number. I don't want you to be like, well, I'm just going to do $100. I want this to be generous. If you're trying to make your team happier, if you want to continue to retain staff and you can't necessarily afford to raise all of your employee wages right now, why wouldn't you shift some of your marketing dollars over to your team? If you're already investing that money, start to pivot it over to your team. Now, from there, once you've got that number, you're like, okay, great. So I'm going to do, let's say, the $400 number, and they're going to get it, let's say, $100 every month for the next 4 months, which is another advantage of doing this, because you can't necessarily do that with your marketing. You're paying it over a month or two, but if you invest $10,000 in marketing 1 month, you can't spread it out outside of a credit card. So you're able to kind of spread that out over a certain time period with your team. So now they're happy because they've got a new program where anyone that ends up signing up, they're going to get $400. How do you then start to drive enrollments? First, you want to make sure that all of your team has really great swag. And on the back of their shirts, for example, maybe it says, ask me about my center, ask me about my school. Need preschool? Question mark. Maybe there's a QR code. You actually have them walking around when they're at the grocery stores and walking around the local fairs and all the other activities. They have a shirt, ideally. Now, they're not going to wear it every single day, but they're going to be encouraged to. If they know that they can get $400 for someone that enrolls, that's great money. That could be what they're pulling in after taxes for, a 30-hour, even potentially 40-hour shift. They can make it from one enrollment. So first step is the swag, and I want good swag. And don't, again, cheap out and give them one shirt. Give them multiple shirts. Number 2, you want to encourage them to refer their friends and family. So maybe they go on to Facebook and they make some posts. Hey, if you didn't know, I work at ABC Childcare. Shoot me a message. I got a little special offer for you. We're going to come back to that special offer in just a minute, so hang with me. You want them to refer their friends and other family members. Hey, you should come to this particular center. The third one, you can ask them to do some additional marketing, my favorite place to grab essentially free enrollments is on the local Facebook mom groups, the local Reddit channels, where they can go on there and they're not just going to be posting like a billboard type ad, but they might post something that says, I work at this preschool. I just wanted to put it out there. We are taking a handful of additional enrollments. If I can answer any questions, I'd be happy to. Or they can take a less salesy approach and they can comment on some of the other posts. And then on their Facebook profile, their personal profile, it should say that they work at this particular childcare center. What you'll find is that when people are posting on or replying to things, they'll go in and they'll actively then take a look at and see, oh, they work over here, they work there. It's just one of those things that gets done. So they've got three places. The billboard piece, which is them walking around and just having conversations and kind of being loud and proud. Number two, encouraging them to send their friends and their family. And that's, they can post on their personal social media. They can make sure that they're mentioning it. And then the third place would be like the mom Facebook groups and some of the Reddit channels. Now, I had mentioned in these ads or in these posts, ideally you want to be able to give them some kind of quote unquote offer so that maybe you're going to waive the registration fee and they're going to get an extra $50 gift card or something like that. Now, where this can get to be a little bit sticky in full transparency is that if they make a post and then someone signs up and they end up enrolling, but they didn't necessarily reach out to their friend, you have to have a policy of what goes to the team member and what goes to the house, so to speak. So for me, I make it to where they have to have had some kind of conversation and logged it somewhere. So if they put a post on Facebook and then 20 people reply, one person ends up enrolling, it's black and white that, yeah, they were initiated from that post. But there have been instances where maybe somebody saw it a year ago and then they end up enrolling and then you get into this awkward dance and back and forth. We're not trying to cheat your team out of giving them commissions and these bonuses, but we also want to make sure that it's fair for everyone. That's kind of the name of the game. We want to help incentivize you to kind of go above and beyond and be a little bit more of a walking billboard, and we want to encourage you to post on social media. We want to give them some posts and some other pictures, and you can kind of interact with them because now you've got multiple people. So what happens if one of your team members makes a post on a mom group and then someone else on your team comments? Like, that post could start to get some really good traction. I've had it where they've kind of tag teamed the mom groups and then split commissions. I call them commissions, but it could be called a commission, it could be called a bonus, whatever phrase you'd like to use. But you want to formalize it a little bit. And this is all stuff that's essentially free. It's a win-win-win. It doesn't cost you anything more than you were already going to invest in adding that enrollment. You're getting revenue. You're getting a new enrollment, so they're paying you, which starts to very quickly offset that bonus or that commission that you're paying the team. The team is now happy because you're paying them additional money as well. And they also are going to have that enrollment. They're going to be more likely to stay if they have some kind of personal connection, personal relationship. They came through that person. It just adds another layer to kind of take that relationship to a new level. So when I started this, I said you probably have a marketing asset that is underperforming. Your website, I'm sure, is underperforming. Your Google business profile, I'm sure, is underperforming. I could give you all of your marketing assets that are most likely underperforming. But one of the quickest ones to really get it into a better spot is leveraging your team, all of your team. Everyone should be open to doing this. Everyone should be invited to do this. And then you really can start to add some theatrics to where you're giving out hundreds of dollars on a Friday, for example, and extra. And hey, this person, they added 3 enrollments, so they're getting another $100 gift card. You want to make it fun where you're almost creating that sales floor mentality. Get out there, start leveraging your team to drive you more enrollments. Michael Tasner signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'll see you next week.